Good morning, everyone, and this is our deep dive of the Sony a6600, and we're not going to do our typical review that we normally do. I figured with a camera like this, I'm just going to go and do my first vlog. So this is Henry's first deep dive vlog. Welcome back, everyone, and I thought, we're in New York. I've never been to Coney Island before. It's a beautiful August summer. Let's all go to the carnival and see what we can do there. So, it's a good thing that this thing is a magnesium alloy body and it is moisture and dust resistant. If you watched our first look, I was curious, what does moisture resistant even mean? Well, we're gonna find out today because it's nice and wet here on Coney Island for my first vlog. I think I've annoyed some of the gods here, but it's okay. We're gonna go shoot with this thing. We're not gonna try and shield it or hide it. We're really gonna see what this is capable of. All right, I wanna talk about the ergonomics first. Using this handheld is very comfortable. There's a deeper grip on the a6600 that you can easily wrap your fingers around, and depending on how you shoot, you can probably get all your fingers around this thing and comfortably take your photographs, take your video. When you have it tilted toward you, having a mini tripod, maybe a GorillaPod or Manfrotto Pixie would be useful, but even if you're doing handheld with this new 16-55 lens, still really comfortable and it's not that heavy. Let me turn this around so you can see me now. What's cool with this is that as they were punching that, even though their face wasn't looking at the camera, it had their face highlighted. It was absolutely in focus, and that's really impressive. And we talk a lot about autofocus when we talk about Sony gear, and we're gonna keep talking about it because a lot of people that are shopping for a new camera, especially a new APS-C unit, if autofocus is one of the main purchase driving decisions, you have to know how good this is. And looking at this footage, my face is obviously in focus, but that footage, where they're not even looking at the camera, absolutely in focus. Do a little deep squat, all right. Whoa. Okay. Now excuse me while I go get my cast done. With the a6000 series of cameras, I do like this design where the viewfinder is on the far left corner. It prevents my nose from interacting with the touch display unnecessarily. Also, having the eye cup stick out so prominently from the display itself is something I appreciate. For one, it just reduces the amount of time my face or cheek is touching the screen, but also not activating it. Listen, it wouldn't be a vlog if I met some of the locals here, and I got Sarah, she's from Jersey, but that's okay. I'm not gonna judge her, okay? Don't you judge her. And I'm gonna ask you, if I'm coming to Coney Island for the first time, it's my first vlog, what should I do while I'm here?
You gotta get a Nathan's hot dog.
Nathan's hot dog.
It's part of the experience. I
gotta go get a Nathan's hot dog. All right, we had the recommendation to get a Nathan's hot dog. Sarah told us this, and wouldn't you know, there's a table there's a table of hot dogs. Now, a couple of things this camera doesn't have. It doesn't have a built-in flash anymore, so there might be a few of you that are disappointed for that, but I'd argue that most of you are not. This one also does not shoot 4K 60, and I know some of you have been waiting for that, and for a lot of you, 4K 60 is just not in your workflow yet. It won't be a deal breaker for you, but for those of you holding out, you may have to hold your breath a little bit longer.
Or thumbs down. Thumbs up. It's a Nathan's. Good hot dog, but I've had better.
One of the things about the Sony a6600 is that it has a single UHS-1 card slot. And for those of you that don't know, well, UHS-2 is just significantly faster. Not being able to have a UHS-2 card slot, it may not seem like a big deal right away, but if you see something interesting and you go into burst mode, you capture that, and there's a second more interesting thing that comes up, well, you might not be able to capture that moment because you're still waiting for your camera to buffer. It won't be saving. So in that regard, it is a bit of a letdown that the 6600, their high-end APS-C camera, doesn't have a UHS-2 card slot. So unfortunately, I didn't bring any kind of stabilization with me. No tripod, no gimbal on this trip. And that's okay, because the a6600 has built-in 5-axis image stabilization. So how good is it? Well, I'm gonna do a test. I'm holding it with my left hand, and with my right hand, I am gonna do my first ever mukbang for YouTube. If you're familiar with this, it's basically people that eat food loud. And people watch that kind of thing. So for my first vlog on Henry's channel, I thought I would indulge this audience with my very own mini mukbang. One thing is certain, this camera is stable. Even though I'm losing feeling in my shoulder holding it for so long, it's actually quite impressive how stable the footage is. And if you're someone that's gonna be on the go, grabbing dynamic footage, having built-in image stabilization, it's not a gimmick anymore. It's something that a lot of people will value. And in some cases, you probably don't know how valuable it is until you try something that has it. All right, guys, enough fooling around. I gotta do some camera tests and lens tests while I'm here. So why not test the sharpness of the brand new 16 to 55 G lens from Sony? And what better place than with my friend right here? Look how sharp it is. It's so sharp. Now, all jokes aside, I did get a chance to test out how good this camera was for photography. The images off the a6600 are richer, they seem more true to life, they are using the similar color science brought in from the Sony a7 III and a7 R4. So I'm happy to report that if photography is the main reason you're looking into this camera, it doesn't disappoint and offers a lot of the advancements that you may have heard about from recent full frame additions to the Sony lineup. All right, so the hip hop juggler here, Paris, has been kind enough, and you know, it's been a dream of mine to juggle. You know, it's something that I wanted to learn, and I thought, what better opportunity in this place, organized by Sony, I'm gonna get the hip-hop juggler here, Paris, to teach me how to juggle. All right, so I'm just gonna take this one here, and it's not that hard, because really it's all about confidence, having confidence. So I'm gonna go ahead and try juggling for you guys today. So, turns out juggling with knives for the first time, you're trying to juggle something, not the best idea. Yeah. And if you're a content creator, this can be a great solution, your primary tool, something that's about $700 or more less than the a7 III. You can buy this body, kit it out, and get something that's significantly cheaper and have money to spare for a trip around the world or a vacation somewhere. Maybe not around the world, but you know, when you're talking about a price difference of $700, that isn't insignificant. And while some people will scrounge up and save for that a7 III body, I will say that this is an incredibly versatile solution that is still limited by your creativity. And with respect to creating memorable images, something that will ultimately surprise you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of this deep dive vlog that we're doing here in New York, testing out the a6600. And for day 2, we survived Coney Island yesterday. We're now in Central Park. A staple if you're visiting Manhattan. You gotta check it out if you haven't already. Even if you have, you gotta come check it out because there's a ton of stuff to see. I don't know if I have the stamina for this entire park, but we're gonna try and test out a few more features of this camera, see what it can do, and continue this vlog. So you may have noticed that the audio sounds different on day 2 than in day 1. Well, I've been taking voice, no. This is because we're using a lav mic right now. We have an audio system hooked up. You could also use like a Rode mic, put that on top. But here's the thing, as soon as you put any kind of microphone on the hot shoe, you can't see the screen. So I don't know what I look like right now. And usually I look pretty good, and I like to see that in the LCD. Well, I don't know that now. So who knows what I look like. But it is a tricky thing to kind of navigate that. All of a sudden, this big tilting LCD that you've gotten used to, you can't see that anymore. You don't know what the exposure is like. You don't know if you're in focus or not because you have something in the way. And for most consumers, if you're doing this travel street thing, and this is a companion camera, you're not gonna rig this up with a bunch of accessories to move it off to the side. But again, I don't think it's gonna be a deal breaker for many people. Excuse the echo while I walk through this ominous tunnel. It is just something to consider that anytime you put an audio accessory on this, more times than not, it's gonna cover your tilting LCD display. Now let's just say that the audio in my previous video, the a6600, 6100 first look, wasn't great. Now, I'm not saying that, but let's just say it wasn't up to my standard. Well, I can be more proactive with the a6600, plug in a headphone as well as my audio source, and monitor my audio. Now, listen, this is kind of a funny setup for some people watching, but if you're a content creator and you're traveling a lot, you want to make sure you get great audio. You want to make sure that there's no interference, that there's no static, and having this sort of flexibility to be able to do this without any third-party attachments is actually a real benefit. It's something that's going to actually be able to empower you to shoot and be more confident in the footage that you're capturing, and not have to do multiple takes over and over and over and over and over and over again. We're now at the Central Park Zoo, and I thought this would be a great place to test out two things. One, the new 70 to 350 millimeter lens that Sony just announced yesterday to see, how much range is that actually giving you. It's also a great place to test out the animal eye detection. So we went to the snow leopards, and if you look at the footage right now, it actually captured their eyes. And even with the eyes squinted and closed, the animal eye detection was working really well. And under challenging conditions with a fence in between them, I gotta say, that's impressive. That Z battery, I mean, wow. It impressed me on day one, it impressed me on day two, and really, it is something that they managed to improve, but also something that's not gonna quit on you easily. When would I pick up this camera over the A7 III? If all things remained equal, why would I choose to use this over a camera like that? It would have to come back to lowering the barriers of entry in my pursuit of content creation. With the flip up display, the reduced weight, even though you still have this deep grip, and the fact you can get a quality piece of glass in the 16 to 55 that is super versatile, this is something that I would prefer to use when vlogging, when doing street photography, when doing travel photography in a lot of instances, and I don't want a ton of glass and weight to weigh me down. All in all, I had a great time test driving the Sony a6600, and despite some features that have been omitted, despite all that, this is a fantastic piece of kit that still packs a ton more. Coupled with the announcement of the two new premium pieces of glass from Sony for the APS-C line, the a6600 is poised to be one of the most popular interchangeable lens cameras this holiday season and the years to come. Let me know what you think about this solution and if it offers enough for you and your content creation workflows. And as always, be sure to subscribe to our channels, whether it's Instagram or YouTube, and turn on notifications so you know when a new video comes out. My name is Gajan, this has been a Henry's Deep Dive, and I'll see you next time.